Jesus, the plan of salvation, the cross. Yes to all three, of course, but those three important topics unfold against an even more all-encompassing theme, the great controversy. This theme pervades the Bible from the book of Genesis to the book of Revelation. So, I guess my first question is, how many are actually aware that there's a great controversy taking place? Yeah, I mean, but in our daily encounters, how many are even aware that there's a controversy taking place? You know, in the daily encounters, you know, are the people that we encounter on a day-to-day, are they aware? You know, is the great controversy not, I mean, it's kind of the theme of life, right?
I think it's innate for people to think that there is some kind of controversy. But I think people try to combine the good and evil, not to see them as much at war with each other. That's why this yin and yang mentality is like the good and evil together. But they all are aware of the Satan and evil, and now some people, question the existence of Satan, but at least the existence of something. I mean, you can see evil.
Yeah, but I would push back that people don't really, they don't see it in the light that they should. Do you know what I mean? I mean, okay, outside this church, and I'll see the hands, and I'll get there, and I'll get to you. How important should we make this great controversy in our day-to-day life? I mean, I look at my day, I look at my average week, my average day during the week. You know, I've got a job, it's my job. I've got this quarter, my goal is to sell $7.3 million of running tracks. You know, I've got about 20 days left. I'm not quite there. You know, that's a lot of sales. It's a lot of bids. You know, if I'm going to close 1 in 4 or 1 in 5, which is really good, I've got to put out $45 million worth of bids. This is what I'm focused on. I'm focused on the house payment, the car payment. That's where my thoughts tend to go. And, raising 3 boys, how different would our day-to-day be? How different would each encounter that we have with, whether it's a register, a checkout lady, or a friend, or a neighbor, or a coworker, if our thoughts were focused more on the fact that there's this controversy, this intense controversy going on every hour of every day for control of your mind. I mean, how different would that look? How different would our day look? Would our conversations be different? Would our actions be different, knowing that every thought, every word, every action is a witness as to which side of this controversy we're taking? Eric, you had your hand up.
I was going to point out, I think watching the war in Ukraine helps me put a little bit of perspective on this, because I've never lived in a place where there's ammunition, or there's a war zone where there's things, something could hit my house or my house. It's just not a concept that I have. I read about it. I like history, so I like looking at those kind of things. So I can conceptualize it, but I've never internalized it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't internalize it because I've never walked a mile in those shoes to those people in Ukraine. They're on the front line. They're home. They're getting home or whatever. And so, but I think that's the same thing. If I think about, and this is Wayne Cagle always said, we live in a war zone. There's a battle going on around us. And it just puts a new perspective, I think, if we think of it that way. I think that's what the great controversy is about, is saying that, it's something you can ignore, pretend, go on with life without it, or you can look around, and when you look around, you see that you're in a war zone. It changes your perspective to what I think you were saying.
It does, but does the average person actually attribute what we see going on in Ukraine, and do they attribute that to what is really going on?
Also in my life,
Right.
The bombs that do hit my house are emotional and spiritual and physical. But there are still bombs going off in my neighborhood and in my family and in my life. But there are different kinds of bombs and different kinds of ammunition, and I attribute them so many times to other things.
Yes.
And attribute them to saying I'm living in a war zone, and there's going to be casualties.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be damage, both to me and my family and my circle of influence, because of living in that zone.
Right. And I'm the kind of person, I tend to get down on myself with the struggles that I have. I tend to get down on myself. I struggle with adhering to the health message. I struggle with, thoughts, with patience, with things like that. And I tend to get down on myself. But if there was no controversy going on, I should be very afraid, right? If there's no controversy going, it's almost good that there's a struggle there, that there is a controversy. You had your hand up a second ago.
I think I've talked with a lot of people, and I don't think they really believe in God anymore, and that they think the Bible is just a book that men wrote, and that they don't even believe in that, so they're not even aware that there's a God.
And even like Eric alluded to, we can choose. A person can choose not to acknowledge it. Everyone is involved, whether they want to be or not, whether they like it or not, whether they want to acknowledge it or not. Everyone is involved, and by choosing not, nobody can claim Switzerland, right? You can't claim neutrality that you might want to, but it affects everyone, and how dangerous is it? If you choose not to acknowledge it, you're choosing a side. Right behind you, Roberto, and I'll get right to you.
In reality, there's certainly a controversy when I speak to patients I see in the facilities I work at. When you start picking back, you talk to any person about truth, about God, you're going to find out right away that there is a controversy in how they respond.
Mm-hmm.
So some people, like I had a conversation with someone this week, and they're an atheist. Young girl comes in 18 years old, comes to the office, and I say, I try to do the lens of as a Christian, I come at, that people are not basically good. People are selfish. Without God, we are fallen. We are, and she's like, I don't agree with that. Push back right away. You see the visceral anger start welling up.
Right.
And what people usually do is they'll change the subject, or they'll challenge you directly, or they'll try to, kind of skate away from the issue, because this is an issue. You talk to anybody, it doesn't matter. You bring up things of the Spirit, things about God, especially as a Christian. You will see very quickly, even among the nicest people, which side they're on.
Mm-hmm.
Does it take? And I used to think, I guess younger, maybe being more naive, nobody really cares. People do their own thing. No, you start speaking to them about the truth of God's word, it will elicit a response, either to the glory of God for a small percentage. They'll say, yeah, I agree, brother or sister, you need the Lord every day, and they'll come in a repentant heart, or they will come in and push back on you, and will get angry, and we see what led our Lord to go to the cross.
Yeah.
Tell people they are fallen, and they need God, and they're sinners, and they're selfish. You will see the controversy in every human being. It doesn't matter whether you're in a war zone or not a war zone.
Right. And again, do we see a failure to attribute those? We see the struggles. We see the struggles with people. We see the crime. We see the wars. We see but do we fall short, or do we tend to lose track of what's really the root? What attributes to that is this great controversy that's been going on since heaven. What you want to make a comment? But it's easy what I'm submitting is it's easy for us to lose track. And how different would our day look? How different would each encounter during our day look if we kept this in the front of our mind, this controversy that's going on? What our role is in it, what our church, as an individual, what is our role in this controversy? And those are some of the thoughts that I want us to keep in mind as we go through the quarter. Yes.
Going back to your question, I'm just thinking that most of the people, including us, we are so focused on what happens with us and around us that we lose from focus, as you said, the fact that this is just the drop
Yeah.
It's just a very small portion. And I was just thinking when we get to Friday, you look at the whole picture, it's like, why?
If we get to Friday.
Why is it that God allows all this to happen? And when you take in consideration our history as a whole, of the whole world, 6,000 years, wow, is so small, so insignificant compared to the eternity.
Right.
I mean, when it takes the light thousands and thousands of years to travel in this universe,
Yeah.
what is 6,000 years?
Mm-hmm.
So this whole experiment that is actually needed for the entire universe to learn a lesson, in comparison to the eternity, is a moment of pain.
Mm-hmm.
But for us, it seems eternity. For
Yeah.
heaven, it's a moment in time, a
Yeah.
tiny moment in time.
Yeah. Yeah. Eric, you had your hand up. I'll get right to you, Michael.
Well, I was going to say, just on that same thing, is that I think in our society we tend to more commonly we blame God, right, for the things that, why doesn't God intervene, or why doesn't, and when you look at a battlefield, when you do think about it as a battlefield, like there's casualties, there's things that happen that aren't intended or planned, that they're allowed to happen, and so I think that's a better way to think about, because we too many, like there was an earthquake in Taiwan this week, right?
Mhm.
Earthquake, and it's an act of God, right? Is it really God wanting to create destruction? I mean, that's opposite of what we think of. He's got creation, but we see destruction, and then we tend to say God. I think our culture, back to what you were saying, is our culture tends to say that is an act of God,
Mm-hmm.
and then we take that destruction and continue it down into people get injured. Why didn't God intervene, or whatever? If we don't understand that we're in a war zone, and that great controversy is going on, we lose understanding of what's the events.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
Kind of goes a little bit more on what Eric was talking about. We have science to back up why we have earthquakes. We have that science. But what we don't have is all we have is God's word to tell us that that there's a battle going on earth today between super beings that we can't see.
Mm-hmm.
We can't see it. We can see remnants of it. We can see God's work from here in this person's life. He turns this person around, turns that person around. We can see where another person was on the right path and then they went off to deep end. You can see that other person work. Throughout the Bible, we see what Satan did with God's people, run them off the track, and God get them back on the track. And they're running along good, and suddenly another something happens, and then they fall right in behind the idol worship stuff, which Satan, full-blown Satan mode, and then the Lord get them out of that, and then back on track, and then again, back in Satan mode.
Kind of like the Israelites back in the Old Testament, right? Yeah.
And you see it even in our time, not my time, but World War I, Satan behind the Germans. World War II, Satan behind the Germans. World War II, Satan behind the Japanese. All of this is happening. And you can see who's behind it and who's trying to wipe out who. But there's always another underlying thing there that says, we want their natural resources. No. All you have to do is trade. We'll trade with natural resources with you. You got something we want. We got something you want. Let's trade. No, they're going to come over here and force, or go over there and force, or whatever the case may be. But we have these supreme beings that we can't see, that we couldn't even begin to even contemplate on competing with. But yet we're having to deal with that through the fallout.
Right. Did I see a hand over here? Okay. I like to think of the controversy of like a 3-act play, and I know that's really simplifying it. But you've got Act 1 was in heaven, right? There was a controversy, a great controversy in heaven. Christ and his angels won that battle, and then it moved to the earth. Act 2 was here on earth, and Jesus won that battle at the cross, right? Act 3 is a great controversy that's internal in each one of us. And that might be a little simplistic way of looking at things, but I think Act 3 is that final struggle, that final controversy that happens within each one of us. And there's that war, like I said earlier, that's constant. There's a constant battle for control of our mind, constant battle for control of our heart. But let's look at Sunday's lesson. Let's get into the lesson book. and we'll start with Act 1. And well, let's read our memory text first. Somebody want to read that? Revelation chapter 12, verses 7 and 8. Somebody read that.
That war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought with the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought, but they did not prevail, nor was a place found for them in heaven any longer.
Okay, so there was a rebellion in heaven that, you know, yes.
Now we know that Michael and his angels were cast out, and we know that Lucifer had the opportunity to go to and from heaven for a long, long time and to the cross.
Mm-hmm.
Was the rest of the angels allowed to go to heaven too? Or was just Lucifer?
I don't know that we're told that. It's a good question. This war that was in heaven, the Bible describes it war. We're not told whether it was physical or whether it was a battle of ideas. You know, the cover, it shows an angel with a sword in his hand, going after this dragon. It's kind of a scary picture there. But I don't know what the purpose of an actual physical war would have been, because angels, they can't destroy each other, right? So, but if you think about it, any rebellion, when perfect love that we can't even comprehend, when it's been disrupted by rebellion and eventually outright rebellion, I mean, that's going to seem like war. I don't think any of the angels, anyone other than himself, understood or foresaw the true results of sin, of this rebellion that's.
I always think heaven happened before earth. Before heaven, but if no sin up to this point, death, or they're not like
Yes.
battlefield,
Right.
right? So it's probably more, at least it's a war of ideas.
That's it. And get to this being, we can stand a chance.
You receive
how solemn is this event in heaven? These perfectly created beings understood at that moment the result.
7 and 9 affirms that there was war among the celestial beings when Lucifer was cast out of heaven, and there were no longer a place for him and his angels in heaven. These statements make it clear that there was physical conflict that resulted in physical expulsion of the rebel hosts. It wasn't just an ideological expulsion from heaven.
Yeah,
You know, they had to be tossed out too. So there was a physical portion of it as well, you know, which had to be very painful for Christ. For Michael, right? Because it
Right.
says Michael, which was Jesus.
well, I'm assuming, I don't want to go too deep into that because we're not really. I mean, I don't understand the purpose of an all-out physical conflict. I understand
But
they had to
I agree
be.
that it's ideological.
Yeah,
You know, that's where Satan went around convincing in subtle ways the angelic host to deceive them
yeah,
that they are indifferent to the well-being of all the other heavenly hosts there.
mm-hmm.
That's how he worked.
Yeah, but without the physical push, Satan would not leave heaven
Mm-hmm.
because his idea was to be there and reign in heaven
Right.
and have worship of the heavenly beings.
Yeah. It's so.
Ellen White goes on to say that all heaven seemed in commotion. The angels were marshaled in companies, each division with higher commanding angel that at its head. Satan was warring against the law of God because ambitious to exalt himself and unwilling to submit to the authority of God's Son, heaven's great commander. All the heavenly hosts were summoned to appear before the Father to have each case determined. And it goes
Yeah.
on. So these,
So
these are
it's almost like a military event description, right?
and that's from Patriarchs and Prophets, page 41.
Yeah.
So there's definitely, a mixture of that. I mean, whenever there's war, there's a reason behind it.
Yeah.
And the devil definitely manipulated. And he was brilliant. He sat on the right hand of God. How, we can't fight that, right? That's the battles unseen. We can't fight that. There's no way. We have to set it at God's feet.
That's right. Now,
Sorry, didn't mean to take you out.
no. You're fine. Yes, go ahead.
And then we see this principle extended to here.
Right. Yep.
Jesus said, "I didn't come to bring peace, but a sword."
Mm-hmm.
And we see literal conflict, the consequences of this ideological conflict that's going on. I mean, it has consequences.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, for me, the same thing happened in heaven.
Yeah. It makes me think, if a third of these perfectly created beings were deceived, did we have a chance? I mean, did we stand a chance? I mean, the purpose, you can look and you can say God's will, the purpose of where we are, this rock in this moment of time, was to let this controversy play itself out so that the character of the enemy and the character of God could be fully seen. I think we've been there and way past that. So the last act is that controversy within all of us. Yes, Roberto. Did you have your hand back up? Let me get Roberto first.
Follow-up question.
Okay, hang on one second. Let me get Roberto real quick. Good.
I was just thinking that what happens is we are thinking with our model of thinking with what we see, what we perceive, what we touch, what we experience, and we try to extrapolate that to what happened in heaven.
Yeah.
And I think that would be wrong in a sense because, first of all, it's a totally different dimension that we don't understand, we can't experiment, we can't feel. But what we can see is what Ellen White says. And Ellen White says that what happens on earth is an experiment to show the universe where the evil goes when it's not restrained. What is the effect? Which makes me think that what happened in heaven before Lucifer was cast out was not this bad. Does it make sense? Yeah. So what we see is the worst of the worst when the evil is left unrestrained.
Right.
So this is an experiment, and again, thank God it doesn't. People don't live thousands of years. They don't have the experiment this as the angels do. But it's a small experiment
Had
Lucifer not been forced out. How it happened, it doesn't matter to us because we can't comprehend it anyway.
Yeah.
We are mice in a lab, if it makes any sense. Tiny, contained, to see what it would go unrestrained.
Right. And if God would have relented to Lucifer's requests, where would that have eventually led?
Yes.
Where we are right here, Nelson.
And unrestrained, what Roberto said, means unaware. People who are just unaware. You know, Satan's had thousands of years to plan his strategy. And one of the key strategies that he has is to convince people that he's not real.
Mm-hmm.
The latest study that I saw, you can Google this, Barna 2019, only 1 in 4 Americans believes that Satan is real.
Right.
So that means 3/4 doesn't even believe he's real.
Yeah.
So it sounds to me like he's been very successful in convincing people that he's not even there.
Yeah.
And so if he's not there, they're unaware. And if they're unaware, they're
Yeah.
easy prey.
And that's what we need to be thinking about this whole quarter is what is our role in helping them become aware? But when, and at the same time, how easy is it for us in our day-to-day life to kind of lose sight of this great controversy because we've got our own stresses coming in, How easy is it for us to lose sight? So we've got a 13-week reminder coming up I'm excited about. I saw another hand. Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to point out that God is extremely loving, and there was this battle up in heaven, what was going up in heaven with the angels. Lucifer got 1/3. He wants to make sure that the angels know that he's loving
Right.
and justice. And if you want to believe with Satan, then you can go over there. He's letting you know if you want to go over there, and it's going to come to the point, and everybody's going to know. That's what the whole thing is. Everyone's going to know how loving God is, and at the end.
How heart-wrenching is it? Do we contemplate how heart-wrenching it must be to God to have allowed this to play out? I mean, I know even with my own kids sometimes, I want to say, no, you're not, because I don't want to see the result of what they have to go through if I allow them to do what they want to do all the time. So, man, it's got to be amazing. 1 second, Michael.
We know from the Bible it's 1/3 of them was cast out. But for all we know, 1/3 of that third may have said, hey, after they come out of Egypt and seen what Lucifer was going to say, I've had enough of this. I'm going to go back to heaven. Forgive me, let me back in. And Lord, not let someone back in. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just saying it's a possibility that surely all of these angels that came down with him, were they 100% convinced that he was exactly right after they got kicked out? Well, it's too late then. It was like when the door shut on the ark, it was too late then. But up to that point, some of them might have had the opportunity to go back to heaven.
And I think we're told in Spirit of Prophecy, he still thinks he's got a chance.
Oh, he
So,
does. Some of the angels may have
Yeah.
said that. I give up. I'm go back to where I was at.
yes, sir.
I see that the purpose of all this is really to separate the two different breeds, let's say, God's followers.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta make a clean cut. Also in heaven, it was the same thing. He gave them a choice to separate both, and so to keep one side pure and the other side pure as well in their own. So I think anything we can do to aid all these troubles that we're having is really separating the different
Mm-hmm.
weaknesses and so on, and separating us. And I think that's what we need to do is just make sure that the Christians are Christians and the ones that aren't completely.
Yeah.
We got to make sure that there isn't any good ones on the other side and retrieve them.
Yeah.
Boss?
Yes.
I just want to say something in regards of what Mike was saying.
Mhm.
I think I remember that in the book Patriots and Prophets, in the chapter The Fall, I think we have, Ellen White says that initially about half of the angels were thinking to follow Lucifer, but about 20% out of that returned to God, repented, and it's
And-
happening in heaven.
Yeah.
And only a third followed Lucifer.
Yeah, that's.
If I know that.
God loves each one of us enough and all of his beings enough to give each and every one personal choice. And there's really, when it comes down to it, there's no gray area. We either choose for Christ or we're choosing for the enemy. And, when it comes down, when Jesus comes back, there's only two classes of people left, right? There's the saved and the lost. What's that? There's the saved, there's the lost. There's the Cains and the Abels since the beginning. It's those that have chosen to do things their own way or to have a relationship with God on their own terms, and there's those that are doing things God's way. I would, and that's the only two classes that are left that there will be.
To be very careful because the information we have about the outside world is limited and on purpose given that way. We're given just enough to know that our fight is just specifically designed to vindicate the character of God. That's why we're on this earth.
Yeah.
The whole experiment here is to vindicate the character of God. What was the accusation of Satan? So we're given very little, but we have to work with the little we have and not try to think behind outside of the box because who will be wrong on that? Mm-hmm. So we are told what was Lucifer's accusation against Satan? That he's not self-sacrificing. Mm-hmm. Because Jesus didn't want to give his place to Lucifer. Mm-hmm. Because that's what Lucifer wanted. He wanted to take Jesus' place. And he said, if you are so loving, let me be in your place. And Jesus comes on earth to show what sacrificing love is. He gives not his place, but his love. And then he says that to all that overcome will be given to sit where Lucifer wanted to sit. Can you imagine that? So we're not given much, but what we are given, we can build on that.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Well, if we go take it just a little bit further than what Jesus was, if Jesus is God, then Lucifer wanted God's place.
Yeah.
Not Jesus' place.
That's
It's broken down in 3 pieces. So he wanted the whole ball back, not just a piece of it.
Yeah. So moving to Tuesday's lesson, planet Earth becomes involved in this. We have the war in heaven. We have the angels and Lucifer thrown out. And planet Earth, this little rock in this moment of time becomes the experiment, becomes the stage where the universe can see how this plays out. The angels that are in heaven can see how this controversy plays out. How horrified must they be at what they see as the result of this controversy? Not knowing any dissension, not ever created perfectly in an atmosphere of perfect love, perfect harmony, and now it's evolved into what we see around us today when we pick up a newspaper, when we pick up, when we listen to radio, when we're struggling internally with the things that we struggle with, how horrified must they be to see this? In one of the very first question, in the lesson is, if God is so good, why is the world so bad? That question really irritates me for some reason. I can't explain why. It just irritates me a little bit. But if you think about it, why is it?
Well, we say, we go back a little bit more to what Roberta said a while ago, 2 Peter 3:8 says, but beloved, do not forget this one thing, that with the Lord, one day is 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is one day.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's just a blink in, we're just a blink in time. Basically, we're what, 8 seconds? In God's time, the earth is 8 seconds old.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and what the great controversy really is, and how, how focused we need to be, to understand our role in it. What is our role on this? He was kind of alluding to it a while ago. What is our role on a day-to-day basis You know, it's not our job to convince, to compel. You know, it's our role to plant seeds, right? But how do we effectively open eyes, even in the Christian world today? How much of the Christian world really understands what's going on? What they really understand this controversy that's going on around us?
I would say that, I'd say like a third,
I wouldn't say that much.
maybe a third.
And
I talk to a lot of Baptists and they know that there's a conflict. They can see there's nothing.
You know, it's interesting, we can understand the scripture very clearly and what is fed to us through the Word of God. And then there's the mystery of godliness, and that question that you hate. That is the mystery of godliness, of God, I'm sorry, the mystery of God. He is beyond our understanding. Why did God allow suffering? Why did God allow sin when he could have created perfect beings every time? And this would have never happened. Why? Well, in our minds, we're very two-dimensional in our thinking, and it's like, well, he could have done it. He could have created beings that were always perfect all the time and never failed. Why did he choose? Did he choose? Or it's that choice that man made because he put that tree right in the middle of the garden and said, hey, here you go. It's a tree of knowledge of good and evil, and then the devil takes that.
yeah, and I think the answer to that question lies in, you know, what we read, what God is. What is God? God is love. And if you are love, and a love that we can't even comprehend, you want reciprocating love, right? You want that reciprocate, and you can't have that if you don't give, if he didn't give us a choice as to whether to love him or not. You know, we'd just be robots, like the lesson says. He doesn't want robots. He loves so much that he wants love back. There, and I'll get to you, Roberto.
Well, where I was going to go, like that's the whole point. Is if you want love, you got to give choice.
Yeah.
If you don't give choice, you haven't given love, and that's what God has done. He's given choice. Otherwise, it's a robot or whatever. Like Kevin was saying, whatever. I'm going the same way you're going. So.
And do we look at it from God's perspective sometimes of how wrenching that must be to him to see those that he loves with a love that we can't even understand moving away. The vast majority moving in a direction that's not.
I think because we look at it with our goggles on of if you love me, then I'll tell you how to love me. I make that choice on you how you love me. And if you're not showing me love in the proper way, then you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Because I'm making the choice for you. When that's not true love.
Right.
True love is when I give you the choice and then you give me that love back. And I love you and you love me without conditional response.
We love because God loved us first.
Because he loves us.
How hard is that to understand?
God's character.
Yes.
His love.
And that's the difference, you know, between Satan and God. I mean, we know there's huge differences there. But if Satan would have been put in the place of God, what a terrible thing to think.
Mm-hmm.
Would he have died for you? No, because he's totally selfish.
Yeah.
He's the opposite of love.
You would have died for him.
He would have died first. Maybe not. I don't think he would have died for himself.
No, you would have died.
Oh, yeah, I would have died for him, yeah.
Roberto, you had your hand up. Oh, yes.
I think that there's also there's 2/3 angels up in heaven.
Yeah.
They could have went down, but God let Satan and the other angels down to earth.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, you know, the devil was saying he's better than God and everything. So we still have the other 2/3 of the angels that God is showing to them and letting them learn, you know, making them, again, choices and love to show them that this is, you know, what he said is not true. What the devil is saying is not true.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got the other angels that's watching all this, you know, because they have their choices just like we do.
Yeah.
So he's proving that.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just the angels. NLI talks about many worlds unfolding. So
Right.
if the universe is behind our comprehension, how many worlds are there? So let me explain a little bit why the question is very important. If God is so good, why is the world so bad? Here's what Satan accused God of. He said, we don't need laws because we are intelligent.
Right.
We can be free. Why do we need laws? Because God had very specific laws. Now, you've heard of the gain of function experiments, right? We heard about that with COVID and what happens. What do scientists do with the gain of function? They take something that has very exact laws that restrict that virus from jumping from one species to another species. Those laws are there. God intended them that way. And they go there like, how can we do this to see what happens if we mess with this law here? Now, God says, okay, let's do this experiment. Let's put these people here on this earth in lab, it's all contained, right? And let's remove some laws and see what happens if people have no laws. You ask the question, what would have happened if Satan was allowed to be? Well, this is the experiment. We'll see what happens if Satan was, because he is the prince of this earth, right? If he removes the laws and anarchy rules, chaos.
Yeah. I love that analogy. That's a good one. Did I see a hand over here? Does anybody have a? Okay.
Well, you know, say, 1,000 years is like a day for the Lord. Is the same 1,000 years like a day for all the angels? You think it's the same concept?
Yeah, it's the same.
Okay. So that all the bad angels that came down for 8 days, and we've been here for or 6 days or 7 days. We've been here for close to 7,000 years. So the angels have been here for 7 days.
Yeah.
And think of the chaos they created in 7 days. Woo! Imagine if they had 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah. Wednesday's lesson, love finds a way. How comforting is that? Seeing, understanding the controversy for what it is. Is that my cue to exit stage left? No, I know. How comforting is it to know that through it all,
Love always finds a way.
God's love always finds a way. Yes. I've got my own theme music. Thank you. So love finds a way. How did love find a way to this rock, to this little pebble in the universe?
See, look, from what I'm gathering, God created this planet specifically again for Roberto's experiment.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just a byproduct of that experiment. When Jesus came down to do what he did, he tried it the other way by letting his people war against everybody else. But then he come down and he took the blunt of it to show these angels down here and those up there that love is going to conquer what's happening.
Yeah.
Even though the conflict is still going on, it's been conquered. It's been decided. Love will conquer all. And it will eventually.
What does it say about the sinfulness of sin to think that it took the creator of the universe to manifest and come down here and give his life, because of what was happening? What kind of love does that speak of? When you think about it, what Jesus gave up, what he gave up, come here and live the life that he did, and to suffer the way he did. What do we contemplate that love sometimes? That amazing, incomprehensible love that it took for him to do that for us. I mean, do you ask yourself sometimes, why? Why would he do that for me, for the likes of me, for the likes of this? You look at where this world is now. It just amazes me.
I think of it a little similar lines as like
I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. The harder we try, the more difficult it becomes, doesn't it? To allow him to live through us, to shine through us. It just seems to me that the harder I try, the more difficult it is, the more struggle goes on. And I'm guessing that's natural. But, you know, we can't live we can't live the life that Jesus did. He's the only one that lived the perfect life, only one capable. But we can allow him to live through us. I've got a sweatshirt Melissa bought the whole family. It says, "I can't, but I know a guy." I like that.
A leader doesn't come tell you how to do it. They'll come show you how to do it.
Yeah.
It's like being a parent. More is caught than taught.
Yeah.
Right? Because what you do is what your kids see, and then they become more than what you tell them to do. They're less likely to do that.
And that's a great analogy as to what our role is in this whole controversy, right? On this planet is to show people how to live, how to be to choose the right side of the controversy. You know, I want to choose the right side. Roberto, yes.
Something that Derek said caught my attention. Here you have powerful angels. Do you agree? Powerful angels. And they want to show which one is stronger. And here comes Jesus to say, I can be powerful, but you can't be humble.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do the battle of humility. And we are humans. We can be powerful. Well, it's so hard for us to be humble.
Yeah.
We are more made to be humble, and we can't. We want to get the battle of the powerful, but we can't win the battle of the humble. And Jesus came to show us, this is what I want to do. Because God says, I am against the mighty, and I'm with the humble in spirit. Jesus came to win the war in humility. I like that.
Yeah. And I misspoke a second ago. I said I wanted to choose the right side. You know, we've chosen the right side. We've chosen it, but our lives need to reflect that. You know, and in order for our lives to reflect that, we need to have this controversy. We have to have this understanding on a day-to-day basis, an hour-to-hour basis, with every encounter. You know, we have to have this great controversy in mind so that we can plant the seeds and we can live the example that we're supposed to be to show people that we can allow Christ to live through us. So, you know, it's something we can build on for the whole quarter is to keep those things in mind. You know, what can I do on a daily basis to focus more, to have more of my focus on what's going on around us, on this battle that's going on around us, so that we can make the right choices, so that our thoughts are controlled and our words and our actions are controlled, so that we can plant the seeds, you know, when we're out in our day-to-day lives, you know, knowing that there is this cosmic battle going on for control of our minds every single day, and what we can do to help others realize that and come into the truth. So let's build on that this quarter. I'm really looking forward to these studies. I teach in the teens a lot, so I'll be watching a lot of you guys on the recording online when I get a chance. But I'm really looking forward to this. I hope you guys are too, because we need this reminder. We need this. We need it. We've got to have this reminder because things aren't going to get any better. And you know, the controversy has been decided. It really has. From the universal standpoint, the controversy is decided. The only controversy left is the internal one with you and me. So, someone will close us out with prayer? Do I need to pick somebody? Nelson, would you close us out, please, sir?